All right. Well, it is 1:02. I'm so happy that you've joined us today. I'm Nicole Ellison, and I'm actually here in Oklahoma. I want to start out and let you know I am going to ask some questions during this, so I hope you'll stay engaged with me. So to start out, I would love to hear what state are you in and how many cups of coffee have you had so far today? Will you type that in the chat box for me? It will let me see who I'm talking to across the globe. All right. We've got New Hampshire and 2 cups of coffee. Love it. Oh, I've got a Pennsylvania, no coffee, 2 cups of tea. Perfect. Love it. All right. Well, we will go ahead and get started. I know that you guys are in the middle of your workday. I'm really excited that you've joined. As I said, my name is Nicole Ellison, and we are hosting this webinar today on the power of technical training. So first, I wanted to start by telling you a little bit about Atmosera real quick. If you've not heard of who we are, we help clients with multiple areas, highly focused on Azure. So in the Azure space, we help architect and deploy a powerful Azure environment. We help clients accelerate sprints and deployment speed. We are always trying to help maximize the value of Azure, looking at how clients can work smarter with data, AI, and ML, app modernization, app development. And then what we're talking about today, of course, training and upskilling teams. And then lastly, elevating the InfoSec posture. So that's a little bit about Atmosera in a nutshell. Through this webinar today, feel free to type any questions you have in the chat box or raise your hand. I'd love to pause and answer any questions you have. We'll also make sure at the end that I haven't overlooked any questions that you had. All right, today while we're together, we're going to talk about the evolution of tech, skills, and knowledge, turnover, that can kind of be a naughty word, the investment, and the power of training. So I hope that we'll have a great conversation today. So as I mentioned, we're going to start by talking about the evolution of technology. And I'm going to ask a question. And I'm going to put a link in the chat box. We are going to interact today, and this is a link to take you to a website called Slido, S-L-I-D-O. And the first question today is, in what year was the first cell phone released? I'm interested to see your responses here. You should be able to click that link and just be able to enter your choice there. All right, it looks like you guys are giving me some great votes. We have most of the audience has selected 1979. We have 33% selected 1984. And if you selected 1984, you got it correct. Another reason why 1984 is so special is that was the year I was born. So 1984 was the year that Motorola offered the first cell phone commercially. It could have been yours for a few shiny pennies to the tune of $3,995. So we went from no cell phone to the first cell phone. You can see the progression in these pictures. I love to see that. Now, that first phone is referred to as the dumb phone, and we're living in a day and age where we can't go anywhere without our smartphone. I'm guessing since I even started talking, some of you have already looked at your smartphone since we started at least once. The innovation from our devices, as we know, is endless and ever changing. Imagine today if a software developer's resume only had skills of working on this Motorola Dynatac 800X. That's all they had on their resume. Years of experience. Would you consider this person for the job to bring innovation to your company and choose them to help develop the next software of phones? I'm betting you're shaking your head absolutely no. Why? They have expertise, but you need someone with in-depth knowledge, current, relevant, where they have innovative ideas and technical skills and capability, where they can build and maintain your infrastructure and applications to the highest level. So why is it then, oftentimes when we're recruiting software developers and engineers, we want the best of the best? Many companies fail to recognize the need to keep their precious cargo upskilled. You guys will understand when you look at these pictures, the exchange rate of knowledge has changed. So think about it. The Encyclopedia Britannica, you probably haven't heard that in a while, announced after 244 years, dozens of editions, and more than 7 million sets sold, no new editions would make it to print. The 32 volumes of the 2010 installment, yep, that was the last year, they were the last. You can now find them on eBay. They're there, I checked, if you want a piece of history. But the content and the exchange rate of how we get it is now found online. So to look up a historical fact or detail, you can remember, some of you on this call, going to that encyclopedia, but now it's at our fingertips. We can use our devices, our computer. We're looking online for those answers. We can ask Alexa and Siri. Now, of course, books are still a wealth of knowledge, and all of us probably understand the value of still going to a book for history and facts and details. But how could we not first turn to our devices? Since I can tell some of my devices, turn on the lights or order light bulbs. I'm guessing you have similar devices in your home. So our generation is getting information at a speed faster than we ever have before. So the exchange rate of knowledge has completely changed. And the question we have to focus on today is, how do software developers, engineers, architects keep up with the ever-changing world of technology? So let's look at a case in point. Imagine you need knee replacement surgery. Your insurance covers multiple doctors, and you've narrowed it down to 2. Do you go to Dr. A that has been doing the surgery for 20 years? But when you walk into their office, quickly you recognize the furniture, technology, even the paintings on the wall, they're outdated about 20 years. He's using equipment from the 90s. Now, if you found out that he hasn't done any research or training in the last 10 years, but he's done a huge number of knee replacement surgeries, but he hasn't done the training, and there's been multiple medical advances published, would you choose him because he has the most experience doing these knee surgeries? Or you check out Surgeon B. Surgeon B has only been doing this surgery for 5 years, but the office is a robust, state-of-the-art office with the newest technologies and facilities. He's been awarded multiple specialty certifications in the area of knee replacement surgery for his participation in clinical trials and innovative research. So one surgeon has more experience, but one surgeon has more training and up-to-date knowledge. So we're going to take another poll. Click on that same link, and now it's going to ask you, which surgeon would you choose? Surgeon 1 or Surgeon 2? I'm excited to see your responses. I love it. So far, 100% of you guys are choosing surgeon 2. Seems pretty easy, right? We like that he has more training. So let's be hypothetical then. Let's say we chose the first doctor. They had the most experience in that surgery. And things went fine for a while until they didn't. And now your knee feels broken and seems to be this huge pain point, causing the rest of your body to struggle to function properly. Now transfer the thought of being knee surgery and instead imagine it as part of your infrastructure. You used the developer with more years of experience. Maybe that developer had been with your company for 20 years. You trusted he had the knowledge, but his knowledge was outdated and caused more harm than good. What does that cost you? It costs a lot more money to fix the damage that was done, which is time, pain, and money. So we have to really think about that, because in organizations, unfortunately, some of these same decisions are being made often. So let's look at a real life example that Atmosera has worked with. So I won't say the company name, of course, based due to an NDA, but Atmosera has worked with a large, well-known household insurance company. They've partnered with Atmosera, and through our partnership, one of the engagements we worked with was a custom 3-day Azure Active Directory B2C training. We focused on the aspects that were most important to the client through the customization of the content. Some training is more focused just on an off-the-shelf, this is the training. And we focus on customizing it. So after the training, Atmosera was engaged with the client to then implement the AD B2C architecture design. We developed and implemented the code and modified the configurations within the AD B2C to enable the features and functionalities needed. Some of those main features that the client was looking for were sign up, sign in, email verification, password, standardization, third-party verification. These are probably sounding pretty familiar to you. MFA, identity management, Azure AD, B2C appearance, and even the behavior. We didn't just come in and do it for the client though. Remember, we offered the training. So Atmosera worked with this client. We produced a design and a flow, but more importantly, the skills necessary. All of this was done virtual. There was no training needed on either the client or Atmosera's part. Not only was this project completed, but after we finished, the client had the knowledge they needed to then maintain the code and environment. Our goal is always to teach the client to fish. And that's a real example of how training can come in and really change an organization. They saved time and money because they weren't expecting someone without the expertise to kind of figure it out on their own. And the reason this is so important is because technology is constantly evolving. We've looked at cell phones, we've looked at the encyclopedia to devices in our home. We've talked about the medical industry. But all of that is based on technology changes and evolution. Think about it like this. Developers with experience writing like .NET apps per se, for example, they need to be comfortable now with .NET 6, which is different than all the other earlier versions of the .NET framework, right? Especially those that preceded like the .NET Core or web developers once needed to know just like a little more than HTML, JavaScript, jQuery. But today, your full stack developers They need to know Angular, React, and several other technology frameworks. And those are constantly evolving. It's never going to stop. So that's why we have to focus on the training aspect. One technology that I do want to point out that is really kind of the fastest changing and advancing right now that we're seeing within so many industries and organizations is machine learning and artificial intelligence. And the greatest challenge facing engineers, software developers, and other technical professionals today is learning that technology right there. How does it work? And how do they leverage that to make businesses smarter and more efficient? I'll give you some examples. Amazon claims that AI-driven recommendations engine boosted revenues by more than 30%. Some of the things that ML and AI can do would be transcribe audio from virtual meetings, identify defective products produced by manufacturing. It can flag offensive content posted on websites, identify objects in images and video frames, detect fraud in financial transactions, predict impending failure in jet engines and complex machinery. That's huge. It can forecast demand in order to optimize supply chain. The list really goes on and on. But what you can see here is that if your organization is not focused on learning the newest technologies and willing to upskill your current teams, you will fall short because AI is changing the world as we know it. And companies that upskill their developers on ML and AI are going to stand to reap the benefits. Continuous learning should be a part of every organization. And let's talk about some industries. Personally, I came from education. I spent the last 15 years of my career focused on K through 12 and higher ed. We expect educators to participate in professional development. Now, most of the educators I know, they want professional development, but most states in the US require it, X amount of hours each year. Why? We want our educators to be up to date on what is working in the classroom. How are students learning? We expect pilots to learn new equipment in planes. I certainly don't want to fly in a plane driving out to our headquarters in Beaverton or on a vacation with my family with a pilot who hasn't had any training in 15 years. We expect medical professionals to stay up to date on current research and expertise. Another one you probably don't think of. We expect our mechanic to have the knowledge to diagnose and repair our vehicles, no matter the year, make, or model. Think about how different vehicles are today versus a 10-year-old, 15-year-old, 20-year-old vehicle. Some of the parts are different, computer chips are different, but we don't think about that. We just want them to fix our vehicle. We have to get to the point where we do the same for our technical teams. And it's easy for me to say this, but it's really important for us to talk about the other side, the turnover. What happens when we don't? Turnover can hurt. We've all seen it or felt it at some point in our career when someone leaves a company over a certain period of time. And if you've been following the news, which I'm sure you have, you know that the US is actually coming off of what we've called the Great Resignation. Turnover has been a big part. Well, according to a LinkedIn study, there is data we can't unsee from this. Do you know what the industry is with the highest turnover on the market? It's ours. It's the technical industry. We're sitting at a 13.2% turnover rate within the technology and software realm. However, topping those charts, user experience and design and software engineers, around 23%. So I talked to an industry leading technical recruiter, a personal friend of mine, and he admitted to me that senior software developers are being recruited and heavily pursued 6 to 10 times per week on both LinkedIn and email. So that means in some cases, twice a day. Twice a day, your valuable employee is being swayed away. And believe me, some companies are making the grass look incredibly green on the other side. The data tells us a story. It tells us that we have to be intentional. But we have to ask ourselves, what is it costing our company? So yes, training and upskilling, there's an investment there, but there's a true cost with turnover. So the short answer is it's costing time and money and some headache. But the longer answer is a study done by Fullscale indicates that when a technical positioned employee leaves, so specific to what we're talking about today, those technical employees, it creates a potential loss of 100 to 150% of the employee's salary for the company, and a loss of 6 to 9 months of progress in the areas that they were working in. That's a lot of time and money. It's also a big ripple effect on the team, causing even more strain. Now, we can't prevent it. It's going to happen, but we can reduce it. Investing in our technical teams matters. 94%. I've got that number big on the screen because that matters. Here's why you need to know the number 94%. Because in that same study, technical teams said, 94% of them said, they would stay longer if their company invested in their career and their learning and development. 94%. I can't turn away from that. And it makes me love what we're doing at Atmosera, but regardless of how you get there, investing in your team is so incredibly important. This actually made me laugh out loud when I saw it the first time. You've got this kind of age-old question. What if we train them and they leave? What if we don't and they stay? And it's kind of this cycle, right? Of I can't really, expand the budget to, put this team through a class. They're going to have to do this outside of regular work time. Well, some aren't. You're going to have varying levels of motivation, varying levels of employees who really independently advance their skills. And then if they stay, they're hurting you. If they leave, they're hurting you. So to me, the clear answer is we have to upskill. One more time, I love you guys doing this with me. Go back to that link. I've got one more thing. Can you type in 1 to 3 words that represent investing in your technical employees means to you? So type a couple of words. What does it mean to you personally in your role? What the outcome or what it means? And you're going back to that same link. Perfect. So we've got future growth, value, cost, turnover, greater power to serve, happier employees, innovation, return on investment, continuous learning, experience, thoughtful. Excellent. All of those things It's all of those things. I want you to sit and think about for a second, what keeps you up at night when you're thinking about your technical teams? Is it the data that you somehow need to be able to pull together for leadership or the board? Is it apps that need developed, modernized, that have bugs you're struggling with? Is it infrastructure? What are some tools that you could invest immediately if you had the support from your executive leadership team? What if it started out small, just with professional learning tools such as maybe a monthly book reimbursement? What if every one of your technical team members, you started with $25 a month? Grab a book that's going to help you grow in your role. What if it was one day a week with kind of this no meeting outline? Hey, we're not going to interrupt you. And on that day, we want you to carve out 2 hours at least of professional learning. What if it was bringing in instructor-led trainers to really upskill and get everyone at a level playing field so they can dive into the pipeline as needed? What if you truly encouraged webinar attendance? You guys are my heroes for showing up today, but what if they really had time in their schedule and they knew that you really meant it? What about acknowledging that they're valuable resources and just listening to their ideas, having an opportunity where there's actually not an agenda at this meeting, but it's, I want to hear your ideas of how this project is going. Is there anything we could pivot or change? Give opportunities for advancement. Sometimes if you're a smaller organization, this one can be hard, but burnout is real in this industry. And rather than having them leave, perhaps a new role within the organization could help them recharge and continue to grow in their knowledge. There's some foundational questions to consider, and I've kind of thrown a lot at you in a little amount of time. But we want you to ask yourself, is IT a cost to your organization or an investment? And if your executive leadership team is still looking at it as a cost, then we've got to continue to change that narrative. We've got to look at what are the cracks in the foundation and which key stakeholders on the technical teams they might have gaps. Do they feel safe to share that they have a gap in that area? Because that small gap could impact the entire foundation of your infrastructure. We really need to identify veteran technical team members who bring value, but without upskilling could negatively impact the momentum of innovation at your organization, just like that comic picture showed. I don't know about you, but I'm very competitive. So I don't want to just sit and watch my competitors achieve new technology from the sidelines. I want to be in it. And I'm sure you do too, which is why you're here. Ask yourself which technical team members may lack in skills, but maybe not have the confidence to ask. Could it be that they've been assigned a piece of the pipeline and it's taking them a while because they don't have the confidence to finish? There's an actual term for that. It's called bike shedding. And that's when we have a list of things to do. It's not so much that it takes the longest time of what we put last. It's what we maybe don't feel as confident in doing. Check with your team. Give them that confidence. Maybe all of this might seem kind of overwhelming. Maybe the idea of even asking for an upskilling budget feels overwhelming, but we want to help you at Atmosera. And even if Atmosera is not the answer, maybe it is starting with just the free webinars or the book allowance. All of those things are incredible. We believe in continuous learning at Atmosera. And so that doesn't always mean that it's rushing straight to a class with us, but that's always an option. And we will absolutely come alongside you and help identify what are those gaps. We would love to partner with you and your technical teams. Here's just a few enterprise customers whose developers have trusted us to keep them skilled. We We have today talked about the why. We've covered elements to begin identifying the needs, and we would be thrilled to partner with you and identify those gaps. If you like QR codes and want to have this on your phone to check out later, I put this on the screen so you could grab it. Maybe you're about to run to that next meeting, but this will be your reminder that you can come back and check out our section on our website that specifically talks about what trainings we offer and specialize in. But I also wanted to show you, I'm going to skip here, that you can email myself and my partner in crime, Martha Guerin. She's incredible. She is just the best. So I hope you have an incredible team like that. But Martha's email is on the screen. My email is on the screen. You can email one or both of us. We'd love to talk to you. We can brainstorm. That doesn't hurt, right? Just to have a fresh conversation. We would love to do that. And we do have a couple of offers going. I'd be remiss if I didn't share this with you. In our other solutions, we are offering this free half-day assessment on DevOps with GitHub. If you were looking for any type of Azure managed services, maybe you're moving into the Azure space, but you really need some help managing that, we have an offer here. And then the one that we're talking about today, we know that budgets right now can be difficult. So we're doing 3 days of an instructor-led course for the price of 2 to try to make that more feasible to get approval in your budget for training. And that's it. I appreciate you guys joining on your busy day. I would love to stick around and answer any questions that you have. We are here to serve you, and I appreciate you joining today.